Hey guys, today we got to interview Elijah Muhammad. He was one of my favorite CrossFitters from early on, the 2015, 16 years. He's made a huge impact on me. I used to be an urban youth pastor in Baltimore City. So oftentimes when I was trying to get young black youth to get into the sport of CrossFit, Elijah was the guy I always pointed towards to say, hey, there's guys who look like you can be a part of this sport. So with that, it was a privilege to get to interview him, to meet him. Got to learn about how he got into CrossFit, hear his story about linking up with Rich Froning and Dan Bailey. Also got to hear a lot about what he's getting to do with the youth now and how he's expanded his coaching to do clinics all around the world. So if you're interested and you want to work with Elijah after hearing this podcast and learn how to Ollie lift even better, he can put a whole clinic on for your gym or a local area, and I will have the links below. So listen in. If you enjoy this podcast, please like and subscribe and leave us a review, and please share this with anyone you think that would enjoy it. All right, here it goes. All right, I'm joined here with Elijah Muhammad. He's got some friends in the background, so we always say what's up to everybody.
Yeah.
Elijah, what have you been up to today, and where are you right now?
Right now, I am. Well, first, thank you for having me on. Greatly appreciate it. But I am right now at Bear Complex at my office, hanging out with all the kids here. We had our CrossFit Kids class today that I coach and train. We had my speed and agility class that I coach and train. We got done with all of that, and now we're at Bear Complex, eating lunch, hanging out, and just kicking it.
That's awesome, man. So today, we just brought you on. I was talking to you a little bit off air to do kind of a history of just who you are. Kind of a lot of our viewers know you, but you're an old school CrossFitter in my mind. Like you're working out with Dan Bailey and Rich Froning back in the day, before Mayhem was Mayhem. And just wanted to kind of get an idea of where your fitness career started, how you found CrossFit and your passion, and kind of what you're doing these days, and then we'll kind of talk from there.
Started CrossFit in Cookeville, Tennessee, home of Froning. Started with Rich Froning in my first 2 years of CrossFit. Just wanted to pursue the CrossFit Games, so continue relentlessly to pursue the CrossFit Games and become one of the fittest in the world, because that was just a goal that I had for myself and that I wanted. I am now in Crown Point, Indiana. Working at a CrossFit gym called Top Fuel CrossFit. So I'm coaching there and, just training, Olympic lifting mostly, just trying to keep myself, physically fit and in shape. But I've been getting a lot more back into basketball.
Okay, I seen that on Instagram. Yeah. Did you play college?
Yeah, I played at Tennessee Tech.
Okay. And is that how you met Rich and kind of got into CrossFit? Was at Tennessee Tech?
Yep. Got done with my basketball career and became a strength and conditioning coach. And Rich then came on staff as a strength and conditioning coach, and that's where we kind of linked up.
So where's original home for you? Like, where are you originally from?
Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. Are you a Buckeyes fan?
Just by nature.
Really? Yeah. Okay. That's cool. So then you've moved around, because I remember you had a gym also in Nevada, and then now you're in Indiana. So you've kind of hopped around. You've done CrossFit all over the, Midwest and also the West Coast. What would you say was the most proud moment you had in your history of CrossFit competing? What event or lift or moment?
The 2015 year qualifying, that first year qualifying for the CrossFit Games, it was an event. The last event was a 50-foot sprint, or probably a 70-foot sprint. You do 10 ring muscle ups, and then it's a speed clean ladder. And I remember sitting in the back with one of my close friends. His name is Kyle Randolph. And I was like, man, I'm in this place. If I land in this place, I can qualify. If I don't get here, or if I, get fourth in the event, this person has to lose. And I'm trying to put it all together in every possible way that would allow me to qualify or not qualify. And the math showed that if I win the event, you will qualify for the games. And I remember me and him sitting back there, and he was just like, go win the event, E. And I looked at him and I'm like, yeah, you're right. He was like, just go win it. Nobody can clean as fast as you, as much as you. It's like, just go win, bro. And I was like, you're right. I'm going to go win this event. And went out and got first place in that event and punched my ticket to the games. I think that was the most proudest moment.
That was your first year going to the games?
Yep, 2015.
Wow, that's really cool. what region was that?
That was the Dirty South.
Dirty South. Okay. And a sprint, then 10 ring muscle ups, then clean. What was the last clean on the ladder? Do you remember?
I think it was 265 at the time. I think it was like 265.
Crazy. That's easy weight for you now. Back then though,
Well, I
it was
mean,
like heavy weight for everybody
then it
CrossFit.
was easy weight, but for a lot of people, I guess that was, we start at 225, 235, 245, 255, 265. You got 5 barbells. I guess it is a
Yeah.
lot, but I think it was like, I think the top weight was, I want to say it was 265, no more than like 285.
Okay. Well, I was sharing with you a little bit off, and this is part of what I wanted to have you on was, before I got into my fitness career, I was a youth pastor in the inner city, and I did a lot of CrossFit on the side, and use it actually as a way to kind of bridge the gap in cross cultural relations. A lot of times sports or fitness is a great place for people from different backgrounds to kind of actually just be very honest and easy with each other. And so fitness, I had a rig in front of my house, and I invite people over, and just jump in and do some pull ups with me, and then we try to do some cleans, and it was just a fun way to express and move together. And so I started bringing some young guys to the gym with me. Um, Obviously, they were mostly black, and so oftentimes when we were in those spaces, they just didn't see a lot of people that looked like them. So I always brought you up as a hero to them, as someone that they saw from a distance. And so, I shared that with you a little bit off before we got started. But what
Yeah.
would you say has been your experience, competing as a black guy in CrossFit? What has been some of the things that you've seen that have grown and we've gotten better at as a culture, as a group, as a fitness tribe? Um, and what are some things you think we could still be doing better at? I know that you've spoken some on this in the past, but I'd love to just hear your heart on that.
Yeah. So one, I appreciate that, man. And, it's always been something that I've been passionate about, just helping young black men grow. Of course, I'm a young black man, grew up in a poverty stricken area, single mother household. Um, and so I'm very, very passionate about just helping guide young black kids, young black boys specifically, with like, how they deal with their anger, how they deal with their emotions, what it looks like on the other side, how to, spiritually get in tune with themselves and, respect their bodies and, um, just a lot of things that come up. And so that's always been a passion for me. And in the CrossFit space, it was like, I went to a PWI, Tennessee Tech. After I got done there, it was like I stayed there and became a strength coach. And so I got into CrossFit, and as I was in it, I was very, very aware right away that this is a white sport. It is a predominantly white space and a white sport. And just to kind of answer your question, for me, it was just like, how can CrossFit become a little bit more diversified, or, show a little bit more outreach? It was a tough thing to try to figure out. And for me, it was just like, I'm going to be the representation I want to see. And so if I'm here and I know I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here for people like you to introduce young black kids and say, hey, this is Easy Muhammad. This is Elijah Muhammad. He's a, prominent figure, or he's a CrossFit Games athlete, or, he's a top tier elite athlete, whatever it may be. Just so they can see that representation, so they can feel comfortable pursuing that and being in that space. Because I knew I wanted to be one of the fittest in the world. So I kind of knew, like, I'm not going anywhere until I at least accomplish this goal that I set out for myself. Um, and so that was just my saying, be the representation you want to see, so that, other people that look like you can have something to lean on, or something to, tie to, as they're kind of in their space, pursuing their fitness and health and wellness and stuff like that.
No, it's huge. And so, as you've been in the CrossFit world for a long time, um, has there been other collaborations with other athletes, athletes of color, men, women, that have, like, you guys have been able to communicate and kind of self advocate for for just kind of the CrossFit brand to go reach out further? And I know some people might feel really confused by that. Like, what do you mean? Like, we're for everybody. but like there's a sense of like expression that so in Baltimore, our CrossFit was right across the street from a poor black neighborhood, but everybody inside the building was white. Now it's not because people were trying to hate on anybody, but there was a discrepancy of money and uh you can only come in here if you're paying $200 a month kind of thing. That's not bad, it's a business or whatever, but how do we then justify saying, hey, we want to get everybody involved in this sport, and some people just can't afford to walk in the door, but they could really benefit from the beauty of what CrossFit is? And so how do we as a community think through that, and how have you and other athletes thought about that?
Well, it's as you stated, right? It was a CrossFit gym across the street from a poor black community, but the doors were filled with white people. That is a clear cut understanding of what our country is like in general. That is a small nuance view of what the world has looked like through capitalism and through systemic issues that we have that create something that can be dead smack in the middle of a black and brown community, but not benefit any of those people. And I think CrossFit gives you a
Mm,
little bit of insight of it if you're looking for it or if you're paying attention. And so there are ways that CrossFit can be better at doing it, but it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't, it's hard for me to say that you'll ever see a lot of black athletes in the CrossFit space. You will have gyms that are in Georgia, in New York. You'll have gyms that are in more rural or city like environments where black and brown people come to the gym more. You will see more gyms with black owners, or, melanated owners or any type of minority owners that will have a very, very diversified gym. Um,
hmm
but that's a small piece of CrossFit. And so it's really, really hard to answer that question because
yeah.
it's so loaded. Like our world itself, the United States itself is has a lot of systemic issues that are rooted in exactly what you said. We have a gym that is in a black and brown community directly across the street, does not benefit any of those black and brown bodies, but every white person has access to that gym for whatever reason.
hmm
Um, and I think that is
yeah.
a sight to see on a bigger stage of what is going on and what's happening systemically in our world and in our country.
No, I think you did a good job saying it's a larger issue, and to not completely fault CrossFit as a whole for it. It's
Yeah,
kind of like a micro piece of a bigger organism. But in that space, I think one of the things that was frustrating me was that it wasn't on our radar to think about how is this gym blessing this community, right?
yeah.
It was thinking of it only a piece of that community, like on a certain side of it, and that I don't know that a lot of people were even aware of it. I think because of my background and my experience, like it was something that I was blessed to be able to see. Like not everybody has eyes to see those kind of things. Um, and you could say maybe they choose not to. I really think it's just people live in their own bubble. And until they
No,
ask some of those bigger questions and think outside of themselves, it's really hard to not
I
see
have
people.
I have
Challenge me if you
to.
think you disagree. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I don't think people. I do think you're correct when you say people live in their own bubbles. I think people choose
Mm-hmm.
not to see it. I think there are a lot of people
Mm,
that see it and choose not to act on it because it is in no benefit to them and is in no shape, form, or fashion going to uplift or help or benefit them in any type of way.
mm,
I think it is very, very much for a lot of people a choice to say, okay, I think it is, I think it's very, very much, yes, people live in their bubbles, but I am not going to give majority of people that that out. I think people see it, they understand it, and they know like uh, that has nothing to do with me. I'm not changing that, or I'm not helping that, or I'm not benefiting that. And
yeah.
rightfully so when it comes to the positions of power. It's when you have power, you don't want to relinquish it. When you have privilege, you don't want to relinquish it. Um, and I think a lot of people, like, how can you be in a gym across the street from black and brown people that are in a poverty stricken area and not see it? You drive there every day. I guarantee when you get out your car, you see it enough to lock the doors. I guarantee you when you get out the car, you
Yeah.
see it enough to roll your windows up and make sure, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just choose not to do anything. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we live in a world where people do have choice, and a lot of people make that choice. And I'm not just going to
Mm.
say that on one side. That's on both sides, you know.
Yeah.
But like from a very, very young age, we are blessed with intuition and a gut instinct to see danger, to know harm, to understand good from bad, right from wrong. Like, and then with that, we are socialized and taught a lot of things that we don't even know our brains are processing. Just a lot of unconscious behaviors and things. So, no, I think a lot of people see it. They just choose to turn the other way and ignore it because it doesn't benefit them.
Yeah. Appreciate you challenging me on that. Do you feel like you've been able to be asked that and like be heard on that around a lot of the CrossFit you have a lot of platform, you have a lot of say, you're a games athlete. Do you feel like people have been able to listen to that, or do you think that's dismissed a lot?
I think people that care about me, that know who I am, um, respect it, understand it, see it. And I think it's a part of us as humans that have to tie into the emotional state of people to get them to find an understanding. Whether we agree or not, we can come together to understand something, whether you agree that I'm going to do this or not going to do it, whatever. But I think it's a lot of people that, one, didn't have anyone to tie it to. They didn't have any reason to attach to that emotional side of things, or that, empathy in their hearts, because it was like, I don't know. I come here to work out and mind my own business. Like, just don't break into my car and I'm good. But then when that kid walks into the gym and they see that kid works hard and he's dedicated and he's
Mm,
respectful and he has empathy in his heart and he's your kid trying to do better, he's just in a tough situation.
mm,
And now ties to those people to say, hey, how can I help? What can I do? Until we have those
yeah.
interactions and experiences, it is hard like go into that space. And when you have someone like me who has been in the CrossFit space, who has grew up poor in a poverty stricken, drug ridden area, who has traveled the world to all different places, it allows me to have this view, and who is a Christian, who understands, like,
Mm-hmm.
that side of things, and has a heart for that. It allows me to have that empathy and communicate with people effectively, to where
Mm,
I'm just like, "Yeah, how can I be of service? Like, this is what I'm here for
yeah.
anyway, no matter who it is or what it looks like." And so people just, they
What a
see it,
cool way to
they
like.
understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Sorry, sorry, I cut you off. What a cool way though that God has used you to just bridge so many. I mean, you've had, like you said, you travel the world. You have such a good platform, and yet you've come from such a tough situation and kind of went to college, and your mom has obviously done a great job raising you. Like your platform to be able to work with kids and the youth that you do. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing with that, what your vision and um, are your son? I'm assuming your kids are doing it with you guys, and just like, we lose each other. So we had some technical difficulties. It happens, whatever. But we were just talking about just your platform. You've come from inner city Columbus, Ohio, drug neighborhood. Mom raised you. You went off to college, and then you became successful in the fitness world, and you've traveled all over, getting to. I think I've seen you go to China before and lead like ollie lifting clinics, and so you've had an amazing opportunity to kind of see so many different sides of the world. How has that helped you with what you're doing now with youth and being able to think of kids maybe that you're working with and how to help them through fitness?
Yeah, well, I've always said my purpose in life was to parent, was to father. Um, my life was to father, and you think about all the characteristics and duties of a father. I think those were purposeful, instilled in me to do those things and be that person for a magnitude of children, not just only my four, right? Not only the four that I have, but a magnitude of children. And going around the world has allowed me to see that, one, the world is huge. It is a lot of people, a lot of culture, a lot of everything as you start traveling the world. But one of the things that it allowed me to see is that Black and brown people struggle everywhere. The in the in the worst positions to overcome certain things. Um, and it just amplified my heart for people that look like me and for what my passion is. And it allowed me to want to serve children in a different degree. And that goes for any child that comes into my space. Like I tell people, like, if you ask me who am I targeting, it's Black and brown kids. Who am I helping? Any child that comes into my space is one of my children. I'll love, I'll support, and I'll care for that child as if they were my own, because that's how my heart is. And that's what the world has showed me, that we need to have that. We need to be able to, unconditionally love and care for people. And I try to display that in the best of my ability. But traveling the world has taught me so much, man. It's allowed me to see so much and just really have a deep understanding and respect for what God has created.
Mm-hmm. Did you grow up in the church, or was that something that you discovered later on?
Grew up in the church. My father was a minister he owned his own church. And then he was a minister in the Nation of Islam.
Okay. Is that where you get your
The
name
Honorable
from?
Elijah Muhammad, yes. Where I get my name from, in the Nation of Islam. And so as my father kind of exited out and left, my mother kept us in the church, going to church. Very, very strong woman of faith. So things that I've learned was just through watching her, being around her and stuff like that. So yes, grew up in the church all my life.
Mm-hmm. Were you ever Fruit of Islam, or were you did your dad not get you at that point in your life?
Always Fruit of Islam.
Okay. So you were and you still are considered Fruit of Islam now? Okay. Yeah, I was interested on that because it was like, so you grew up in the church, but then Nation Islam, because I had a lot of Nation Islam children who would come to my youth group. And I interacted a lot with their dads, and as a white guy from the suburbs, that was a lot of learning for me because it was a different culture than mine. And just, so I actually wrote a whole paper in seminary on Nation Islam just to kind of learn. I might be one of the only white guys I know that has read Elijah Muhammad, his book, Message to the Black Man. So
That's
very,
awesome.
very fascinating book. So yeah, but that's awesome that you have such a passion for the youth. What does your program look like? Is it just like a CrossFit class, or how do you guys conduct that?
Well, right now we're doing a summer program, so all kids are there. But once kids go back to school, we're going to try to find a time to keep kids coming, whether it be the afternoon, early morning. Try to find something that works for the parents to get their kids there. But right now we do a homeschool kids class. So all the homeschool
Okay.
kids in the area come in, train 3 times a week, and then I work at the YMCA working with speed and agility for youth there.
Okay. Very cool. That's awesome. Yeah, so we actually homeschool, and so we've been looking for like things like that, but there's nothing where we're at in Lakeland, Florida.
Started up.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to give you a call after this and learn what you're doing and adapt it. So with that being said, you said earlier, my real calling is to be a father. Tell me a little bit more about that. Share a little bit about, you have how many children? Is it 4 or 5? 4. I have 3. I don't know how you do it, man. I was, 4 is great,
After
but
after
I
2 is
love it.
easy. After 2 is easy.
You and yeah, you're just playing zone defense after that, right?
Yeah.
You're just in zone defense. I do actually, to be honest, one of my biggest regrets is not going for 4. But when my wife hears that, she gets mad at me. So I can't say it a whole lot or I'm in trouble. So 4 kids, you and your wife always look so happy when I see you guys on Instagram. Tell us a little bit of what that's like and what that means to you and how y'all use fitness in your family.
Well, first, sadly to say, I am divorced. Me and my wife are no longer.
I'm sorry, I did not know that.
Totally fine. I mean, it wasn't a announcement, but currently
Yeah.
divorced right now. Fitness in the household. Let me let me not let me not close it to fitness, because fitness we think more of like working out. Wellness in the
Mm-hmm.
household is always important. Um, is very, very keen on how they eat, what they eat, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that she's preparing proper meals for them, cooking for them, something that she's done since we've been together. And more of the physicality of things, right? We need to work out. You need to be conditioned. You need to have physical strength. You need to have lungs. You need to be able to breathe. And so it was just like a kind of combination of those two things coming together. Um, and I tell my kids all the time, where it's just like, I don't care if you want to play sports or you don't want to play sports. That's your choice. We're gonna dabble into some things. I'm gonna push you into some things. I'm gonna make you do some things you don't want to do. You will work
Yeah.
out physically. You will be physically fit and take
Mm-hmm.
care of your body, because that is the temple. You only get one. It's a form of self-love and self-care, and it builds what you need, whether it be the mental fortitude, the emotional strength. You have an outlet for anything you need with training your body and working out. It creates discipline. It creates consistency. It creates hard work and effort. It creates resiliency. It creates all these things that you are going to need for life. If you're fast, great, you're fast. If you can jump high, great. You're an athlete, but like, hard work is across the board. It goes from
Mm.
the gym to the house to work to school. Like, it's across the board, right? Your athletic ability may do nothing for you when you get a job. In those
Mm-hmm.
certain structures, understanding I gotta get to the gym, I gotta train, and then like when you're mentally and emotionally beat up, down, sad, whatever, this is a way that you can have an outlet to go to and utilize these tools. And so fitness was just important for me, because I was realizing what it was doing for me, um, and how it was actually calming me down and allowing me to navigate, see clearly. It was, taking away a lot of this extra energy that I had to just want to be out and go do things, or it was just like, I just want to chill. Demanded me to then structure how I ate and find consistencies in other places. It allowed me to brainstorm how I can leverage this and use something that I'm good at to, you know, create, financial gain for my family. And so like fitness was just one of those things where I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, man, it's the door and hitting everything for me. And so I make sure I try to implement that into my sons, into my daughter and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes total sense, man. I just think, as working with kids for 10 years in the inner city, I saw so many kids that, I just empathize with them because they were not getting enough sleep. You talked about wholeness and wellness, right? Like they were eating sugar and crap. And then I would have them in school because I worked with at-risk youth in the school in the neighborhood, and they were getting in fights and stuff. And I'm like, well, what time did you go to bed? 3 a.m. Okay, what'd you eat? Just Pop Tarts this morning. I'm like, yeah, I would want to fight everybody too if all I had was sugar in me and like I'm on 4 hours of sleep. So it was like learning not only the spiritual part, but the physical part of how God has made us was just such a part of my ministry. And I love that I hear you saying a lot of the same things that has resonated with me in my experience. Um, just like because I need that. Like I'm a bad dad if I'm eating crap and I'm not sleeping. I have less patience. I'm not kind. I'm more of a jerk, and then I got to go back and apologize, which I hate doing, but you got to do it. Dads out there, you got to say sorry sometimes.
Yes.
Um, yeah. So but it starts a lot with the body being connected with the spirit, and like when we divide those, I think we do a disservice to our humanity. Um, and so I love that you connect those. I think that's so enriching. For what that's worth, I love it.
And another part
Let's
of it is just like I tell my kids, like, you never know what you're gonna want to do. Never said, man, like I'm mad that I got too much strength, or I'm in really good shape. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, like I shouldn't have been this well conditioned. Like, like So it's like whatever you want to do, if you just
Yeah, yeah,
train your
yeah.
body,
I've never heard anybody say
you
that.
just generally be prepared for whatever sport or endeavor you kind of want to go on. So just work out, just train your body.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that being said, what is some of what our viewers could, if they want to follow you, or catch up with some of the things you're doing? Tell us a little bit. I know you do some online coaching too, and some stuff are in that probably in the India. You probably go around. Do you still do clinics?
Or you can follow me on Elijah Easy Muhammad on Instagram, Elijah Easy Muhammad on TikTok, Lift Heavy Often as in every day on Instagram. I still teach my Lift Heavy Often weightlifting seminar. It's a 4.5 hour comprehensive clinic on Olympic weightlifting. You can DM me, message me, email me to get more information about that. I'm here in Crown Point, Indiana. I teach at Top Fuel CrossFit. Um, Town or in Chicago, drive up. It's about a 40-minute drive outside of Chicago. Drop into the gym, hang out. Let me know you're coming. And my shoe. I released a shoe with Strike Movement, the Hayes Trainer, the Easy Lifter, Olympic shoe and a training shoe that is on Strike Movement's website. So you can check into that. And then I do personalized programming online. Personalized programming to help athletes find their fitness, find their why, just better themselves, dig in and help them get fitter. And last thing, I just partnered with Bear Complex. So anyone who takes a seminar will get an $800 gift certificate to Bear Complex website where they have everything. I mean, you could probably see it somewhere in the background or in their front office. So straps, saunas,
Wow, that's awesome.
skiers, bikes. They got rings, t-shirts,
Oh, that's
backpacks,
awesome, man.
hats. Yeah, they got everything, man. So I just partner with them. And anyone that books a seminar, any gym that books a seminar will get an $800 gift certificate to their website.
That's awesome. Well, Easy, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you. On behalf of Comeback Athlete and all of our listeners, we're just thankful for what you're doing for the CrossFit community. Thank you for just being you, man. And appreciate your time today. So,
Man, I appreciate it.
yes, sir. All right. Signing off.